SealMaster presents On the Pavement, featuring the SprayMaster SK575.
Hi, my name is Garrett Knoll with SealMaster Equipment. Here to talk to you today about our SK575 with Pro Air. Perfect unit for spraying asphalt seal coat with heavy sand loading. And as you can see, we're filming this video today at our main campus here in Sandusky, Ohio. Let's go ahead and get you started on some of the features of this unit. Let's walk you through some of the features of the SK575 with Pro Air, starting with our 13 horsepower Honda gas-powered engine. It also features an electric start, and the motor is used to build pressure with our air compressor and also drives our hydraulic pump for your forward and reverse agitation. Up here on your motor you have your air filter housing. Down below is our compressor tank and compressor pump, air filter for your compressor, pressure relief valve at 125 psi. The compressor itself is 30 CFM, and we also have a pressure gauge out front that should be reading somewhere around 125 psi. Behind here we have a 12-volt battery and 10-gallon hydraulic oil tank. All SealMaster machines across the board are using AW68 hydraulic oil. And located here near our hydraulic oil tank is our suction filter element and suction line. And directly driven off the Honda engine is our hydraulic pump, which drives our forward and reverse full sweep agitation. And mounted right down the center of the tank is our hydraulic motor for our full sweep agitator. And on the opposite side, we're going to touch on in a minute, is our control valve that controls the forward and reverse full sweep agitator. So here we are at the rear of the machine where all of our equipment to move product is located. Let's go through these kind of piece by piece here. This is a 1.5-inch air dual diaphragm pump. We have our 1-gallon basket strainer. And we have our domed surge tank for pulsation dampening. The reason we use a domed surge tank is it is better than a flat top at pulsation dampening and keeps a nice even flow of material coming through our spray wand. Okay. We have our main material valve located here. Recirculation valve behind the surge tank. We have our master on-off valve for our spray wand. We have our master bulk distribution valve. And here we have a suction valve which can be opened up and used to fill this tank. And we also wanted to touch on the pressure regulator for our 1.5-inch air dual diaphragm pump. On the front of the pump here is this regulator, and we want to set the internal pump pressure to 80 psi. Now that number will vary depending on the viscosity of your material, and we're going to show you how to set that internal pump pressure in the operations section of the video. Okay, so all of the equipment we just covered at the back of the machine is ultimately moving product through your spray wand. The wand itself comes standard with 75 foot of 3/4-inch hose. And as you can see, I've got the wand in my hand, and it comes standard with an 80/70 spray tip. And located on top of our SK575 tank is our securely locked lid that does come complete with the breather vent. Okay, to open we just snap this latch back, pull the lid open. To close, there she is. So being this unit is not mobile, we have 3 different options. We have designed this particular unit to set right down on the bare chassis of a new truck frame. Number 2, we can bolt this unit directly to the flatbed truck. Or number 3, you always have the option of utilizing an existing trailer in your fleet. And one additional note we wanted to make, all SealMaster SprayMaster tanks come complete with full sweep agitation and rubber wiper blades. The reason for the full sweep agitation is it eliminates product buildup, and it will give you a more completely and thoroughly mixed material. Okay, so we've taken you through some of the features on the SK575 with Pro Air. We're going to go ahead and get ready and take you through the operations, steps on how to move product through this spray wand. First things first, as always, we want to make sure we have proper safety gear. And before we fire this machine up, we always want to do a quick walk around, make sure everything is safe. We want to check all of our fluid levels, hydraulic oil, engine oil, oil in your compressor. We want to eliminate moisture in our compressor tank. We'll show you that relief valve here in a sec. We also want to check our basket strainer. Just do a quick walk around, make sure this machine's safe to operate. Okay, so we've done our safety walk around the machine. We've checked all of our fluid levels, made sure everything looks good to operate this machine. First thing we're going to do is fire up this engine, our 13 horsepower Honda engine. And I'm going to go ahead and set my agitation in motion. So let's go through some of the controls on our engine. Off here to the right, I have my electric start. Up here I have my engine RPM, or my throttle lever. This gray lever up top here is my choke. So all the way to the left is full choke position. And down below my choke I have my fuel shutoff switch. You want to make sure after every day that you run that we're coming back here and we're turning this fuel back off all the way to the left. That way we're not getting any fuel seeping down into the oil. Okay? So to start this unit, I'm going to fully choke it. I'm going to make sure my fuel source is on. Give it a little RPM. And remember, if you do wind up with a dead battery somehow, we do have the pull start feature as well. Okay? So I'm choked. I've got my fuel on. I'm safe to go ahead and start the engine. Hold on, don't stop shooting. I'm going to do the variable speed. Okay, so we went ahead and fired up our Honda engine and kicked our full sweep agitator in motion. Remember guys, that's a variable speed control valve, so I don't have to open that agitator all the way up. We can dial it back just for a nice, slow, consistent turn, okay? Next thing, we're gonna go in the back and we're gonna set that internal pump pressure to 80 PSI. Okay, so as we touched on before, our 1.5 inch air dual diaphragm pump, we recommend an internal pressure of 80 PSI. And on the front of your pump is your pressure regulator, okay? The order of operations on how to set this pump pressure. Number one, you want to make sure that your main material valve is open. We also want to make sure our recirculation valve is open behind our dome surge tank, which it is. At that point, I can go ahead and kick on my pump. Once it's done a few cycles, I'm going to turn off my recirculation valve. The pump is then going to cycle into a neutral state, at which point my needle is going to find a fixed position on my pressure regulator. Once that's been done, I'm going to go ahead and use this knob. I'm going to click it up so you can see the orange, and I'm just going to dial this up to 80 PSI, at which point I can open up my recirculation valve and you're free to pump material. The reason we want 80 PSI internal pressure is that's the perfect pressure to keep your spray wand up. That way you're not carrying the weight of the wand in your hands, and it will reduce operator fatigue throughout the day. Okay guys, let's go ahead and set that pump pressure to 80 PSI. Internal pump pressure, 80 PSI. Step number one, main material valve open. Once my main material valve is open, I'm going to reach over behind my dome surge tank and I'm going to open my recirculation valve. Once my recirculation valve is open, I'm safe to go ahead and turn on the air to my dual diaphragm pump. I'm going to let the system charge for a few cycles, and then we are going to close our recirculation valve. Okay, now I've reached over and closed my recirculation valve. The pump now has cycled into neutral, and my needle should be in a resting position. As you can see on my pressure regulator, I'm showing just under 70 psi. I'm going to go ahead and open my regulator, and I'm going to dial this pressure up to 80. At this point in time, I have set my internal pump pressure to 80 psi on my regulator gauge. My system is charged. I'm safe to go ahead and open my main valve to the spray wand and start spraying material. Okay guys, we're ready to start spraying. I'm going to open up the main valve to my 75-foot hose and spray wand. Now my hose is charged. You hear the pump kick in. Got a safety door here for travel position. You always want to make sure that's flicked down when you're moving. Grab my spray wand. And again, that 80 psi should hold this wand up. Okay? I should have barely any weight in my hand. And just remember guys that when you start spraying, you always want to make sure you're in motion before you open your valve. And as you can see, this wand is just floating. It's just floating in my hand. And as we've talked guys, that 80 psi internal pump pressure, depending on the viscosity of your product, it should be able to hold this wand out and up for you. This wand has a little weight to it, but when I give it pressure, when I'm spraying material, it will come right out of my hand and just float there. I just have to guide it. Okay, and remember, we can dial that pump back. If it's running away from you, we can go back to the back of that machine and we can dial that pump down. Okay. Okay, we've demonstrated the spray wand to you. Let's go ahead and walk you through proper shutdown procedures. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my master valve to the spray wand, to the hose. The second valve I'm going to close is my main air supply to my dual diaphragm pump. And once I've turned off my pump, what we want to do is depressurize the entire system. That takes two valves, starting with our main material pump. We want to make sure we close that first. So I've closed my main material pump. Then what I'm going to do is open up my recirculation valve and allow the system to depressurize. Once I open that recirculation valve, the pump may cycle 1 or 2 times, just clearing out the system, pushing all the material back to tank. And just a couple other things that we like to recommend, guys, just for good habit and good practice. At the end of every day, there's a moisture bleeder at the bottom of your compressor tank. Go ahead and bleed the moisture off your compressor. And remember, we touched on it earlier, you want to walk over and turn the fuel off on the engine. As we want to thank you for watching the video today on the SK575 with Pro Air. As usual, we like to close out our video with some wares and spares recommendations. Just some recommendations on some parts to have in stock that may render this machine down in the field. Couple things, we want you to hold on to your hydraulic suction filter element here. There's also air filters on your engine and on your air compressor pump. Those air filters we'd recommend that you have in stock. Also your 80/70 spray tips. This machine's outfitted with 80/70s. And lastly is your 1-gallon basket strainer element. We appreciate your time. Hope you found the video useful. Thank you.
Let's review the key features. 575-gallon capacity, Hydraulically controlled full sweep agitator with forward and reverse provides complete material mixing. Rubber wiper blades on agitator paddles keep sides of tank clean and prevent material buildup. Low maintenance 1.5 inch air driven dual diaphragm pump designed for spraying sealer with sand loadings. Designed for extended use with minimal maintenance. 13 horsepower Honda engine powers the air compressor and hydraulic system. 30 CFM air compressor. 75-foot hose and spray wand. 1 gallon easy clean basket strainer. SprayMaster SK575 options. The following options are available on a SprayMaster SK unit. Larger 2-inch air diaphragm pump for greater pump volume and durability. 50-gallon water tank system with pump. Manually operated spray bar with operator seat. Hydraulically driven SANDPUMPER 2 material pump system provides greater pressure as well as greater volumes for heavy sand loadings. Hydraulically operated spray bar for units that feature the SANDPUMPER 2 material pump system. Hand-operated hose reel. Electric hose reel returns spray hose with the press of a button. SprayMaster SK units are also available in 750, 1,000, 1,500, and 2,000 gallon capacities.
For more information on this machine and all other SealMaster equipment, contact your SealMaster representative at 800-395-7325 or visit SealMaster.net.